Romhack Races Super Mario in Pink Tower by Gemstones. That should be good. Do you know how much it cost me to fly in all the pink triangles I needed to build this level? I don't, and I'm scared. Oh, what's this gonna tell me? Also, Rolling Star. Lonely Rolling Star. The walls here are made from pink triangles. Oh my. Face a wall and hold towards it to start wall running. Oh my. Did you upload the right thing? I don't think that there's a... Like, it's very trusting, let's put it that way. So it might be broken if you uploaded the wrong thing. I don't know if it checks. It's been so long since I've looked at that code. It may not have been the correct thing, or you might have done something weird, and the best way to do that would just be flush your local storage. Because, I don't know, that's weird. How do you identify? It should just be like the Mario World ROM that you play normally. Like smw.smc. Probably should remove the word unheadered, because no one knows what that means. But most games aren't even headered anymore. Oh, whoops. That's what you used? Then that's weird, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know the code well enough because I haven't looked at it in like 5 years. But I haven't heard anyone else having problems with it. On the other hand, I haven't heard anyone else using it. So, with the thingy, that might be the problem. It shouldn't necessarily have that. I don't know if that's correct. The clear ROM? And then... Yeah, I'm not going to be able to debug this while also streaming, which is basically the big problem. Yeah, it does in fact check to see which ROM it is. So if you uploaded the wrong thing, it would not have worked. I'd say just try again. But also, like, most people who can do this kind of thing have their own patching system too, so it's fine. Sure. Worst comes to worst. I think you could figure this out. Because there is still the download BPS button, and if you press that one, it will just give you the BPS. I need to stop doing that. It's not a regrab. I keep wanting to do that because, like, double and triple jump-ups off things are typically regrabs, but they're not. To the man who did the same thing over and over again. Also, what kind of good old sodas did you get to try? I'm curious. Got the BPS? Okay. See, that's what it wants you to do. More or less. Aw, man, Katamari music's so good. Curious to what? I've lost my train of thought, so I don't know what I was curious about. Oh, Blueberry Bunny went to a soda thing. Got to try fancy sodas, old sodas, all sorts of sodas. What kind of sodas those were. Like, I'm trying to think, like, old sodas that make sense, right? Like, certainly not things like Coca-Cola that actually still has cocaine in it. That's not how any of that works. But, like... I'm trying to think of, like, what sodas bites... Moxie? Like, what's an old soda that like... still exists? Okay. I may have already messed up, because I may need to have that swing all the way around. I know what happened there. Oh, hello. I see what's happening now. Want to try two, just to be cautious, since you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, and wanted to try the ancient version of Dr. Petitbur? McFuddy, huh? Different one called Moxie? That's the one I was gonna guess. I don't know why I see that message twice. Oh, Just because sent twice. That's weird. That makes sense. I didn't even know there was a precursor to Dr. Pepper. All of the things that exist. Just trying to think, like, what would you call Dr. Pepper? Like, postdoc? Or not postdoc, like, grad pepper? I think Rosalina is a very appropriate thing for a pink tower with the Katamari music. Man, I love me some Katamari. Katamari's just a really fun game series. Fun fact about Katamari, the dude who made it, oh no, really didn't want to do a sequel. But he was forced to. And so he actually kind of made the sequel, like, kind of miserable. Did a lot of things that normally people who make video games wouldn't do, kind of sadistic things. He really just wanted to design children's playgrounds, but somehow still makes video games to this day, as far as I know. Cool, a lot of people, a lot of booths. Master Pepper. Rescue Rabbit booth and got to pet the bunny. Oh, nice. Too much. Wait! I keep forgetting the walls are made of triangles. So I'm doing something silly here in order to do something that's not really important. So I can run up the wall, see? Alright, a little bit of cheese, I think. 2 triangles make a square. I just did. I just hadn't evaluated it in the context of this specific problem. Look, sometimes you break down things you're doing and you solve them one by one, and you don't really consider that you need to solve it a different way. In this case, I hadn't considered I needed to solve it a different way. To be fair, my way largely works. Like, I don't need to do the other way. It would have been fine, but it's there, so I may as well, because it's honestly far more consistent than what I've been doing. Katamari guy reminds you of the creative Danganronpa. I could see that. I'm pretty sure after the last Danganronpa game, he wanted to be done with it, but then he proceeds to make the same thing anyway. Or variations on a theme. It's my understanding. It's fine. Okay, wait, what am I doing? That's not the strat now. You may be trying to troll me, but I'm fine. I got Katamari music. Oh, it comes back. Oh, he did 4 the last game. I get you. Like I said, he definitely seemed to want to be done with this nonsense. Since I have actually beaten V3, I know exactly what you're talking about. But it is such a spoilerific thing. Oh, I could have another shot at that. Also wanted to ask me about something that happened recently. Don't know if you made any help in any way when SMW went down. I mean, I know a little bit about what happened, but the actual information about what really was the issue has not been... I'm not privy to that, unfortunately. Mid-September? Yeah. Oh yeah, he did, big time. Left. Basically what happened is SMW Central got a DMCA takedown request And what that is, it's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which has nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a law signed by Bill Clinton back in the day. The idea being that copyright holders want to do something about the web and have ability to enforce their copyright to some extent. And for the most part, it's not really that bad of a law. You get a DMCA request, you're required, you can respond to it, you're required to take down some stuff. It's not really the end of the world. The problem is that apparently this was an AI-issued one, and whatever media they were complaining about in the DMCA request did not actually correspond to what was on SMW Central. Like, SMW Central doesn't host that much stuff that's not BPS's. Like, we're not that kind of a site. Like, it's possible that, say, I don't know, somebody who owns like Marvel could be mad that someone's using Batman as their avatar or something, right? And if they did host it in their in their file bin, I guess that would be a thing. But, like, you don't have that large of a file bin, and most of the things that people are worried about with regards to this sort of thing are movies, TV shows. So, but basically the bigger issue is that it was the weekend when that went down, at the very start of it, like, and so by the time someone managed to talk to the hoster and say, no, this is an invalid complaint, it was already, like, Saturday, or they had already, like, they just weren't doing anything. So it took a few days for the hoster to sort out, the company that hosts SMW Central, to sort out the request from their side somehow. Which is silly, because it's quite literally should be pressing a button saying, no, that's silly, I've reviewed this, it doesn't make sense. At which point, like, if it was an actual legitimate request and we were doing the wrong thing, lawyers would get involved. But, like, again, AI issued requests, so they're just throwing things out to see what happens. Kind of like YouTube's content protection, you know? It's really just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Actually saw a video today from someone who was complaining about how they had gotten a copy strike on their YouTube account for playing, like, some... What was it? Like... What was it? It's a song by Bach or something. A song by Beethoven. Jesus Christ, Matt. I might actually just make it so you can only do so many of those at once. It does get kind of annoying. Wait. There we go. I'm actually at a point further in the level. Aha! With a shell. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do with shell 2. Whoops. I don't think I want to be ducking. There ought to be penalties. I agree. Especially when it's obvious, like, you don't own it. Like, Beethoven. You can own a specific recording of Beethoven. You don't own Beethoven's music. Like, it doesn't make sense. That's been in the public domain for decades. Like, Beethoven's Fifth, it's been there longer than anyone has been alive. But, like, you know, a specific instance, a specific recording, yeah, like if you were to upload Trans-Siberian Orchestra's version of a Beethoven song, absolutely. That's your copyright. However, it's not. It's like this dude playing the bass. It's his performance. So. There we go. But copyright is a difficult thing to deal with at the best of times. What was I doing? That was net. I wonder how long this first section is. I see springs. Well, I see green bean springs. Oh, what? Oh, I thought I was alive. How you handle it? You posted to a forum and finished a Netflix show, and you've been playing Earthbound Ancient Cave Randomizer and got Sega Model 2 emulator. Played the first House of the Dead and Virtual Cop. Oh, nice. That's nuts. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen again anytime soon. I think they've turned on, like, maximal bot protection on Cloudflare, which is really annoying. Which is why I'm using my web browser to scrape the site right now. It used to be when I, like, played a Romhack from SMW Central, I could at least, like, look up the user's name and get their official color. But I can't do that right now because of the bot setting for Cloudflare being in front of it. And so I thought about it for a while. I'm like, well, I could just write a user script to slowly grab all that information. And so I've written a user script to slowly grab all that information. And I'll just make my own web service that handles it. I might need a better shell jump there than I'm used to getting. There we go. Anyway. Yeah, I was dead anyway. Yesterday I went to the Seattle Chocolate Festival, which was full of chocolate. Tried a lot of weird stuff. They had a lot more weird stuff this... Oh, crap. They have a lot more weird stuff this year than they usually do. I think it's dead, Jim. Yeah, I bought a few bars, not too many. One of the guys I went with bought, like, I don't know, 40 bars. Something insane. Biscuit, also went with, bought exactly one thing. A box of wine chocolate for his mother's birthday. Well, wine-filled chocolates, really, but you know. He was worried about them expiring. It turns out they have like a year expiration date, which basically means they don't have an expiration date for the purposes of chocolate. Okay. New territory. I should have spun jumped. 40? Yes. Well, the funny thing is, I go to this event, I've done it a few years running, and like, after I'm done, I'm like, I don't want any chocolate. I don't want any chocolate today. I don't want any chocolate tomorrow. I don't want any chocolate 40 days from now. And so usually I'm pretty content with like the few bars I buy. And oftentimes in the past I've bought a bunch of bars with the assumption that I'm going to take them and like use them for stocking stuffers or something in the future. But no, the funniest one was this. There's an Italian chocolate company that was there. And every single time we tried a new chocolate, he would be like, okay, I want to add that to my order. And so he's like, oh, you gotta stop. I'm like, oh, that other one, that raspberry dark chocolate looks really interesting. We gotta try that. Oh, what about that coconut sugar one? That looks like it could be really cool. Long story short, me being a little bit of a dick got that guy a lot more sales. Have some sort of sweet tooth, you just want to eat little bits. That would be a perfect event to go to then, because like they're basically giving tiny amounts of chocolate. But it's still a lot, and it's still like you can kind of you know, choose your own adventure here, right? You can always go back to booths and get more and stuff, and there's probably what, 70-ish vendors, I would say. Most of whom are chocolate. Some of whom are not. There's a few timeshare people. There's always the guy, there's a hot sauce person, there's a jerky person, and then there's always the gutter people, and I do not understand why they are ever at these events, but they're at every single type of event like this. Trying to sell you on these gutters that will prevent your gutters from ever, or these gutter covers that will prevent your gutters from ever getting clogged. Which I've heard don't work anyway. So, I don't know. That's what I was worried about, and then I did it differently. Oh, whatever. That's a PB still. Weirdest of the show, goat kebab. Goat kebab. You could really taste the goat. And lots of traditional, you know, kebab-type spices. didn't want to buy that one for some reason. Okay, just jump upwards. But a lot of places were doing wacky bars. A lot more than last year. I think the weirdest one last year was like roasted onion bar. Which, while interesting, was not something I needed to revisit. Fistbit, on the other hand, absolutely loved it. Like, gushing about it. Yeah, the only annoying thing is that it took place in Bellevue, so I had to go across the lake. But I had some business to attend to anyway, so it wasn't so bad. I managed to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Speaking of the Gordon's Food Service, is the Gordon's Food Show in Grand Rapids? Not sure if you're going because you got a new manager, but your work is facing some sort of financial issues. They have lots of residents staying. Food conventions are a bit expensive. Oh, I would believe it. So what happens at that kind of convention? Like, do they have, like, I don't know, fancy new fryer baskets and things? Like, my only reference for this kind of thing is I saw a Andy Rooney piece, read it first many, many years before I found out that, well, before I found it on YouTube so I could watch it. But basically it was about food in America circa, like, 1978 or something. And he did go to some sort of, like, food service convention where they were showing off things like textured soy protein. That is hard. Slightly the same thing as the restaurant show you went to in... Okay. But yeah, it was just it's a mildly interesting piece. I wanted to see it, especially one round when I wanted to see it was because I'd just gone to Ivar's in Seattle. And I was mildly curious how much had changed. The answer was surprisingly little. It's a fun piece. Andy Rooney's a fun journalist. Got to try all sorts of foods? Oh, that sounds even better. Nuts. Not recoverable. That was painful. He also ate at the Palace in New York, which was one of the fancier places to eat in America at the time. They walked through the menu, which was kind of fascinating. An awful lot of stuff that used to be kind of fancy and exotic isn't quite as fancy as it used to be. Some amount of democratization, some amount of just changes in the nature of food service in general. One of the really funny bits is he, like, gets the top 10... apparently they looked through a bunch of menus and ranked the top 10 things that they've added to the menu that have nothing to do with ordering food. How do you... On a bed of and served up atop, or surrounded, were 2 ones that he had problems with because... What really is the difference between on a bed of and surrounded by all that much? Apparently there was also a trend of putting tassels on menus, which was a bit of a weird thing. And he pointed out that you could expect to be paying at least $5 more if you know, went to one with a tassel. But... all good things. What else? Yeah, I almost did Outer Wilds, but I wanted to start a lot earlier to do Outer Wilds. I think I've gotten over my annoyance at Snyder, having seen him again since. But we'll see when I actually play it. I'm still pretty sure I know what to do. But it's going to be annoying to do, so... But we'll see if I'm wrong. There's always something more. I'm still debating whether or not I want to, like, pick up the DLC, like, period. Or pick up the DLC later. I keep ducking. I don't want to be ducking. we go. Oh, what else is there? I don't think anything else that was really interesting at the Chocolate Festival. But it's just one of those things where after you've been there like 3 hours, you're kind of dead. There's just too much chocolate. Tried a lot of 100%. That was kind of cool. Like the first thing that happened when I got there, because I got there after Fisk, but he's like, "You gotta come to this one table and try their nibs." You get these little cocoa nibs, which are kind of a, I don't know what the right term is, like waste product. Maybe that's what chocolate's made out of. I forget, but cocoa nibs. That's it. They're the best ones of all time. Let's try them. They're pretty good. And I'm like, they're weird because nibs are usually chalky, but these are softer. I wonder why. And then the other friend got there and tried them and actually got a bag of them and noted, no, these have been soaked in rum. That's why you like them so much. Which I thought was pretty funny. And did answer an awful lot of like textural questions. Like why it was different than all of the other nibs I've had before. Maybe that's what I'll do in the near future. Get the squiggle box out and do some, I don't know, something Windows 9080. I've been craving a Windows 98 kind of thing. I've also been trying to not make my cable mess too bad. Like, I need to redo the cabling up there for the HDMI in stuff. I don't like how I've done it. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to make it better. I also bought some gaffer tape to try and make it easier, because I want to tape these things in place. Like, because an awful lot of them don't need to be front and center. They just don't. Like, my goal is to kind of, like, have it so I can easily plug things in and out, and I had a massive problem with that for the NES, because it turns out the cabling over there was too short for me to have it within arm's reach. For the Super Nintendo, having the Super Nintendo within arm's reach doesn't matter because of the way the flash card works. But for an NES stream, I really do need it within, like, the ability to reset it. And that's just kind of hard to do. So I end up putting not just one, but 2 different power strips to connect, and so I could actually do it. But it was silly. Also, I think I figured out what causes some of the interference patterns I was seeing a bit more of here. I unplugged the HDMI splitter, and I think the video quality has improved because of it. So I'm probably going to keep that powered off now, unless I actually need it. Also, it was using my iPhone's charging, using my iPhone charger to power its USB thing, and I kind of wanted that back in my bedroom where I could actually use it and charge my phone and still have my alarm go off properly. The week I was sick, I didn't really care, but I'm trying to not be quite as degenerate in terms of sleep schedule. Because it was getting bad. Like, I woke up at like 7, or I went to bed at like 7 on Friday, and what'd I do there? And about 5 a.m. on Saturday, which just wasn't good. And apparently, I was just overtired on Saturday. So we got back. We went to the Chocolate Festival. I think I connected. Nope. Afterwards, we went and got some Mediterranean food at Mediterranean Kitchen because we're in Bellevue. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. You're welcome to come along. And Fist-Bitten Friend wanted to go, so we agreed to go. So we went, which is pretty good. Dude was excited to see me. The head waiter knows me. I go enough that he recognizes me for a customer. I don't go that often, but it's nice to be recognized. But what would weird me out, actually, is they changed the name of the thing I always order. I always get the farmer's dish, but they've changed the name to Toby's Chicken. And I had asked, like, when? Why? And apparently the place had been bought out from its prior owner. I think he wanted to retire or something. But everything else could stay the same. They just had to change the name of a few of the dishes. and that one had to be changed, so they named it after the guy who works in the kitchen, whose name is Toby. Which I think is hilarious. Apparently the salmon is named after him. The guy, the main waiter. Which I also think is pretty hilarious. Or restaurant manager. I'm not exactly sure what his position is, but he runs the place as far as I can tell. But after that, I got home and basically was struggling. It's like, I need to stay awake long enough so that I don't have to wake up, like, ridiculously early. Oh. The farmer's named Toby? No, he's not. The farmer's dish is an old dish. It's been on their menu a very long time. The guy who owned the place was an old Greek dude, I think. I'm not exactly sure. And it was a dish that his grandfather had come up with or something. The recipe is bizarrely online, but it's impractical for me to make it because it requires a sheerly a ridiculous amount of garlic. Like, ridiculous amounts of garlic. Far too much for me to do on my own. Crap. What am I supposed to do there? Can I get over that with a maximal bounce and not friggin' ducking? Do-do-do-do, oh, lonely rolling star. There we go. Not again! And yes, I can clear it, I think. If I don't end up ducking. So yeah, I went to sleep around 10, and basically slept until 11 this morning. Like, usually I'm not that tired, but apparently I was just overtired. It was nice. Got a real good night's sleep. To that end, I don't want to go too long tonight, but we'll see. We'll see how it works. Okay, there we go. I swear I didn't press down. Okay, your hours at work, so you've only been working Mondays and Fridays? That you're even working earlier on Mondays? Oof. I'm sorry to hear they've cut your hours. That sucks. How do I keep pressing down? How to get burned? I gotta be able to beat this level if I keep having this problem with my controller. I've gotta have very pure presses. 5 a.m. starting breakfast to residents, which we're happy to do. Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear it's a good morning change, then. Because I would not be happy with a 5 a.m. start time. Get to leave even slightly earlier time. Oh, nice. I think I need to bounce twice. Or I could attach the other wall. That's what I need to do. It's a long section. One of these days, I sure hope Romhack Races will start publishing the other information to their website. I know the website update has been a long time coming, but it's been a long time coming at this point. All volunteers, I'm not begrudging anybody, but it'd be one of those, like, nice-to-have things. Woke up in the middle of the night anyway. That's fair. Or wake up. Let's see how my scraper's doing. Oh, we reached the end. Cool. Let's see if it actually worked. I was a little bit worried that I might run out of space. That is the correct number of things. Perfect. I still have to get that out of the web browser somehow. That's mildly annoying. I have to think about that. Can I just copy the value out? Is that a thing that's allowed? No. No, it's not. Oh, wait, it is, but it freezes the web browser. Oh god, no. Okay, well. That data is wrong. That data is wrong. Of course, that's the part you want to show me. I'll have to rerun it, which is annoying. But the data looks wrong to me. That is not the correct ID. I don't... Oh, wait, no, IDs are... I didn't do it sequentially by ID, that's why. Okay. That makes sense. I did it sequentially in a different way, and that made them... Are different number... Right, okay, I remember now. That's the key thing that's important to remember, is that the IDs, while they are an auto-increment, do not necessarily tie to the date that they were put in. And so I can check to see if those make sense. So that's probably correct data, just megabytes of it, that I'm going to have to figure out how to get out of the web browser. Twice. But not a big deal, just going to do this. Basically what I did was I wanted to have a database of SMW central names. Like what the names and the corresponding profile IDs, as well as the color that people use. People don't often change their colors on SMW Central outside of... Oh, I missed that? Outside of, like, the occasional wacky event. People also don't change their names all that often. Oh, was that what you're supposed to do instead of what I've been doing? Huh. Nah. That's clearly not it. I was actually a bit shocked to see that my holiday name had gotten cleared. Because my holiday name is just something cursed. I just add more A's and D's to my name. But I don't know if they've gotten rid of the concept of holiday names, or display name actually just lets you change your name on SMW Central, so I'm just not sure. So I might have to go put it back or something for holiday purposes, just to mess with people. But anyway, point of this endeavor is basically just to get a database of things that I have that's convenient for another project, possibly. And presently, just because I can't scrape the names, people's names or colors on SMW Central anymore, which is really annoying. Not blame them for it, but the bot thing prevents me from doing that. Yeah, I only noticed because Green Jerry had his on, and he was on the website when I started this project. Which is also why I'm doing it twice. I'm doing it once logged in to get the holiday names, and doing once logged off to get the regular names. Because when you're logged out of SMW Central, you don't get the holiday names, from what I recall. We'll see if I'm wrong in a few minutes, but I would like to have both. And then one day, when things are not broken, you browsing guests can see them. Yeah, I hope that's right. I feel like at one point when you were logged out, it did display the names. Because I remember moderating a Green Jerry hack, I think pretty explicitly a Green Jerry hack, that was Halloween-based, and it was Halloween time, so it used his spooky name instead of the regular one. And my bot isn't logged in when I do that kind of thing. My bot clearly communicates that it's a bot and isn't me. Because it actually uses a specific user string to say, no, I'm totally a bot. You can go do whatever you want. Ban me, I do not care. I wonder if there's cheese right there, if you're smart and do another shell jump, possibly. There might be. Sometimes when there's cheese in these levels, the testers leave it in because I think it'll be funny if, like, Louis does it. Especially if Louis just gets obsessed by doing the cheese and doesn't win because of it. Which has happened a few times. Colors holiday themed, but the display names aren't. Interesting. Well, let me check that. Let's see. Nobody has that open. Seg was the one I was testing this with, because Seg is currently like #1 Naster fan. Gaster follower. Undertale reference. Yeah, it's Seg here. The name, I guess the name is still the same. Well, he's an admin. He can change his name. Or staff. He can change his color. Anyway. It's a very odd perk, being on staff and being able to change your color. I've only ever done it once. I've never felt the need to do it more than once. When I got access to being staff, I changed it immediately to the HTML color Tomato, because I thought that was a good color. I'm usually a red person, but I felt red was a little bit too harsh. When you're hacks? Okay, and you have a holiday name on? Oh wait, what am I doing? Oh, maybe this is still salvageable. It's not salvageable. Change your holiday name. Can only think of your YouTube name. Ah, gotcha. Is that just the display name? Is that the thing there? Because mine, I must have either I cleared it or someone cleared it for me at some point. It wasn't malicious or anything, but definitely see someone being like, Pat, stop being annoying. Okay, well, I'll go change it back. It's really hard not to touch walls, as it turns out. I haven't made any real progress in the last while. Like, I have some consistency for the first bit, and then I mess up the shell jump. Soften enough. No, I had the same one for Halloween, or for whatever. It was always PATC. Or... The idea being, since this is a scheme Lisp-based name, is that frequently for convenience purposes, they will give you all of the options with car and cooter. So CAAAR to get the first of the list, the first of that list, the first of that list, and the first of the last list. Or first less, or you can have this whole decision tree based upon A's and D's in the name alone. At least when I did it, it was out to 4. I think you could macro it further if you really felt the need to, but I didn't. And scheme macros are a powerful force. Ah, I'm alive. Never mind. What's gonna be one of these times when I spend like the whole time just on this part? What am I doing? That was terrible. Making me hungry. Weird, I actually had a decent amount to eat today and I'm still kind of hungry. Also didn't do much today. To get prepared for like some other stream content that I want to do in the near future. So like, I did the game Genie Jam stuff on... Oh, hello! Right in the middle of a shell jump. This is gonna be tricky. Well, actually no. No, I have a plan. I have a plan. We can make this work. Sup, memory lane and people. Always good to take a handbrake. Sup, memory lane. Thank you for the raid. How's the stream? Another reminder that I need to fix that bug that I haven't fixed in 4 years. Sup, wire later. Sup, blue banana. Bandana Jake. Thanks for the good luck. I'm just playing a Romhack Races level. One of the older ones. I found an old VOD and watched it for a bit, and I'm like, oh man, I did some Romhack Racing back in the day. I mean, 2020 back in the day. I was like, yeah, it'd be fun to do some Romhack Racing today. What's up, Jimmy? Stream was great. Fresh Hopping 2. Oh, nice. I heard that like got released or an update really recently. All right, let me dismiss this message and have a different message. Thank you for the follow. Enjoy your fish. These are actually in the game, by the way. Like, it is pausing the game. It's not some sort of OBS trick. This is actually happening in the game. I'm just missing message boxes. Aha! There you go. It was right in the middle of a shell jump. 22 was a whole different area. Indeed it was. I just picked a random one to look at, and I'm like, oh, it's a level that Shovda made, and I raced it. It took me a long time. I don't have a follow age command. I probably should implement that, given that people seem to like that one. I have uptime. If you want to see what commands you could execute, you could do exclamation point commands, in fact. After all of that. Anyway, how was Fresh Hops 2? Those icons, yeah. So, for April Fool's Day, I usually try to implement something silly. And the ads, yeah, no, I've got ads too. And a few years ago, I did advergaming as the thing, and so I made this self-service ad platform. So the ads you see at the bottom of the screen are ones that people who watch the stream have made. Or in that case, were uploaded by Squiggles as a test, in the case of the one that's right on screen right now. But you can, in fact, buy your own ads for, like, 500 channel points or something. It's fairly cheap. It was great, getting tough. Oh, nice. And some alpha channel. And yeah, the little things on the side, I needed I had to fill some space, and I was like, oh yeah, those little icons were fun. Best viewed in IE and whatnot. The one I'm really proud of is the panda one. That was a series of them from Miss Mab's website back in the day. So you could tell people your website was maybe for adults only, or is perfectly content for children and whatnot. And when streaming, depending upon what game I'm playing, it actually changes out the panda. Doesn't come up much, because I don't play that many mature games. But it does that. But yeah, there were a whole set of them, all the way to like NC7, from like G to NC17. I think there might have also been like an unrated one, but I don't remember. Pretty sure her website's still up. And last I checked, she's still making DMFA, not DMCA. We were talking about DMCA a little while ago, because SMW Central went down for a spell. I can't do that part. Love the stream layout. Oh, thanks. It's actually just an HTML page. Actually, it's like 3 HTML pages. But yeah, this is just for like advergaming, and when people turn it on, it's another channel point reward stuff. I love doing channel point integrations. For example, the sprite you see is not the sprite people were racing with. They raced with Vanilla Mario. But Matt changed it to Rosalina, and if you look in the channel point rewards section, you can change it to a different character, and I've got a lot of characters in there. There's also some that I don't think we've ever seen. There's a random thing, and there's a few hidden ones for my amusement. Random will, however, actually proc those. But then if you wanted to proc them again, you need to guess the name. So... Oh yeah, also the gimmick of this level is all walls are wall runnable, as if they are made of triangles. So. But there's a lot of technical nonsense going on behind the scenes, is really what I'm trying to say here. Rumpelstiltskin. Oh man, so one of the games I played in recent times that was actually long time ago I played a QLDC level you did. If nobody did anything, I probably left it alone. It's very possible someone updated it though. I don't recall, I'd have to check it out. Let me see. I have the metadata around to find this out pretty quick. Was that the Five Nights at Freddy one? The Lost Maze, apparently. Let me look. Looks like I stayed as Sonic the whole time. Yep, looks like I stayed as Sonic the whole time. That would have been QLDC 2023. See, the nice thing about being organized is it gets really easy to find those things. So that's the link for it. No, I didn't. I just have all of this. I didn't remember the level. I've played a few levels where I've been Sonic. I remember that level, having seen it now. I liked the maze aspect. The other one I was thinking about with Sonic was did some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. I think that was an earlier QLDC. So I just scrubbed the video really quick to see if I did that after I looked up your name in my YouTube console thing. Because I have a relatively consistent naming scheme for people and those things. Not relatable. Oh, believe me, like I said, there's an awful lot of automation going on behind the scenes. I'm a programmer. I program a lot of random crap. For instance, I needed a list of names from SMW Central, and unfortunately, because of the fact that we've recently had some bot activity problems, I'm also a staff at SMW Central. I suppose I should mention that at some point. Hack moderator, so I look at hacks and decide if they pass our QA pass, more or less. It's more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. Nuts. Love my Mario Maker death thing. Yep, that is also implemented using USB nonsense. So, like, there's a lot of tech going on behind the scenes, but basically, I'm playing on a real SNES, and I am using a flash cart known as SD2SNES, which got rechristened as FX Pack, possibly Pro, depending upon which version you have, because the SD Consortium didn't like the naming convention. But it has a USB port on it, and there's a lot of USB-related nonsense you can do. So I can change things like the character sprite, or I can read out data as I'm playing. For instance, it's not shown anywhere, but every time I hit a message box, it reads that and puts it in a place for me to use it. So I can also use that to, like, translate level names and or level message box texts. So I can play, like, Spanish hacks or Portuguese hacks or Japanese hacks even. I originally implemented it just for Japanese hacks, but it's been used far more for Romance language hacks. Artists don't like to name your layers. I never... The very few times where I actually make thumbnails for my YouTube videos, that aren't just literally, here's a screenshot from the actual, like, thing I played, I never named the layers, and I have a horrible time because of it. I'm also using Pinna, which somebody recommended because it's open source and doesn't completely suck. But I swear Control-Z doesn't work a chunk of the time, and that's often really bad. Especially when I'm like, oh, I need to put this on a layer. And it's like, oh, you put that on the background layer. Ah, crap, I did not want to put that on the background layer. It also does weird things with resizing. Like, it has a really bad resizing algorithm, and I'm at a loss as to how. That was salvageable. Anyway. I mean, also as a programmer, I don't comment anything. This is fun code. I don't want to have to do, like, the proper give things really good names. I mean, I do usually name things, same things. But if you looked at, like, my GitHub commit history for this, it's all just garbage. Like, it's hobbyist code. I don't need to be the cleanest. And it's all still Python 2. That's the best part. I refuse to upgrade. Mostly because there's far too much stuff in here that takes advantage of the fact that in Python 2, strings are bytes in many, many ways. And in Python 3 abhors that and makes your life a living hell because of it. In direct contradiction to the philosophy of Python duck typing, which, again, I don't think they ever would have pushed through half of the Python 2000 things if Guido was still keeping a strong hand on the project, but he has long since checked out. Anyway, well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't hate Python 3, but I just don't think an awful lot of the things they added were worth the added pain of making it so that bytes are not equivalent to strings. I also don't care enough about Unicode for basically anything I do that's not professional to care either. I do also think Unicode was a mistake and other things. Emoji definitely was a mistake, 100%. That should have never been approved by the Unicode Consortium. That stuff's ridiculous. Especially when people start using them as, like, names of functions. Like, I'm fairly certain you can get away with that in JavaScript now. Like, name one of your functions a big old smiley face or praying hands or something. It's bonkers and should not be allowed. Just like you shouldn't be able to name a function a number because it would mess with using number literals. Amusingly enough, the number literals in the original version of Python were actually just all objects that were placed into the global scope for performance reasons, because the first Python wasn't very fast. So the first about 100 numbers were actually just objects that were in the scope rather than parsing them out into other numerical values An interesting idea of interning, but something that probably shouldn't have been done and was thankfully not done long term, and I just cannot grab that show. But yeah, I really do enjoy playing through contest levels, even when I'm not judging. So, like, I'm still playing through Halloween level design contest stuff. Was made aware of an interesting contest I hadn't even heard of, called the Summer Level Design Contest that happened in 2016, which is a bit ridiculous to me. But I'd played a level by Mark DV some numbers, and he was messaging me about it because he just found it on YouTube. Pascal assigned number literals? I don't remember. Honestly, I've never learned on Pascal to know. Pascal was just before my time. Like, if I'd been more of a diligence of a programmer as a kid, I might have learned Pascal. I learned QBasic, and then I jumped to, like, C and C# from there. And now I pretty much write exclusively in Python, unless there's a really good reason for me to write in something else, like Lua. I wrote some Lua recently to test out, or to build a kind of test harness for USB to NES, which is not as nice of an environment as USB to SNES, just because Crix is a... whatchamacallit? He's a hardware guy. He doesn't think in terms of software, and so the interface for that is not great, and frequently has problems. I owe Nintendo SE a playthrough of Metroid, and I implemented a character swapping thing, and I have some work to do on that still, but not much. But my tests to try and make that interface consistent and not suck have been difficult. I found some things to make it more reliable. Unfortunately, more reliable is just not reliable enough. It drops bytes. MIU? Very possibly. But what do you hear? Emoji were created to save data because people in Japan keep taking pictures to convey simple concepts. Send a few bits, show up as a cat, then process an actual cat picture. But I'd want an actual cat picture. Cat pictures are awesome. Oh, sup, Desi? I should message you about Metroid in the near future. You never know when he's going to show up. Desi can, in fact, be everywhere, unless he's streaming himself, in which case I'm pretty sure I know where he is. Anyway, how you doing, Desi? And thank you for 50 months. Oh, I just toast myself there. I got distracted. Desi is also one of the few holders of one of the bit emotes I got. An actual good one. I only have like 2 emotes that are drawn by a real person. Pretty much everything else either I've cobbled together. Oh, thank you for the follow. Enjoy your fish. Cobbled together from like Windows icons. Or have done other weird things with. But that one did that one come to me in a dream? No, I discussed with Fisk a bit about that one. The idea of combining the shocked Pikachu and the butter monster from Bioforce Ape, which is one of the prototypes of all time. Yeah, phone companies implemented emoji first. It got added to Unicode, yes. Doing good. Love to see me and Metroid in my mind. Metroid is absolutely on my mind because I got the NES sitting like right in front of me. Since I was playing through the Game Boy Jam stuff that NES Dev did earlier. I did that on Friday, which is actually pretty cool. Lots of interesting games that people were making using the character constraints of the Game Genie. It turns out the Game Genie, instead of adding character... So, NES lore. The NES cartridge has 2 buses on it. One for the code that's running, and a bus is a set of wires. I figured I should mention that part. And one for getting data, graphic data off the cart. The graphic data stuff is hooked up directly to the picture processing unit. Well, the Game Genie people realized they could save a bit of money by implementing a circuit that kind of returned the address lines back to the PPU. Do not ask me how this works exactly. I'm not a hardware guy. But basically it allows you to define tiles by setting very specific addresses of the tiles you want in memory, is my understanding. And so they did a game jam around building games using just these tiles. They didn't require you to implement a cart with that circuitry, which would have been ridiculous. And so, yeah, there's a really good Snake game. Had a lot of fun with that. Good puzzle game. There was a programming logic puzzle game, kind of like, not logic puzzle game, but like kind of a Zachtronic style game. Reminded me more of Robozzle, but that's a deep cut even for this crowd, I suspect. And then what else was there? There was a cool maze game that involved colors, but it had a very clunky interface. And a really cool RPG, a really short, cool RPG, where like everything in it was delivered by the README, which you did need to read, by the way. And then you had 4 options every turn in battle, and you had multiple points of things you could do, but basically it always gave you kind of a random option of your 4 things. You're like a ship that's going to try to solve a problem, like the rebels have taken over a base, you need to reestablish, blah, blah, blah. Basic plot. But every turn you have 4 options, and when you use an option, it goes away and is replaced with a different option. And the options could do are things like hit everything on the screen, hit one thing on the screen for not very much damage, heal, hit a row, hit a column, that kind of thing. Do some elemental damage, though elemental stuff wasn't actually implemented in the game itself, so it didn't really matter. But it was really cool. Would recommend checking those out if you're ever kind of bored. I don't know if a zip file for that has been posted, which is kind of a problem with an awful lot of these jams, is like you need to know a dude who knows a dude to get the zip file, or you have to like harvest them all from an internet forum. I keep hoping that someone will post a zip file so I can link to it, because I had a YouTube video for that contest. Put it up on Saturday. No. How do you do that? That eludes me. I feel like I'm like 3 jumps away from a checkpoint, which is just going to make this all the worse. Anyway. Any of that sounds interesting. You should probably check out my YouTube, because there's an awful lot of stuff in there, like contest levels. Oh, people keep doing that real quick. What's up, Ron? How you doing? Ron, how you doing? We'll see if I can actually stay on the thing. Missiles go Neum. What kind of missiles? Sup, Brenth? Sup, Small Panda Bean? Sup, Vesper? Sup, Grave Dice? Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? What were you up to? Hope it was something fun. I'm just rambling about dying a lot. Playing Hades 2 using the jetpack. Oh, there's a jetpack? I actually don't know anything about Hades 1 or 2, despite the fact that people seem to really love those games. I just kind of assumed it was a Diablo ripoff for some reason, but I know it's better than that based upon the things people have told me. They added missiles to the fist. Fist missiles. Alright, I like the sound of that. I'm just playing a Romhack Races level and not doing a terribly good job of it, because I'm not sure I understand the last obstacle, and my consistency isn't quite there yet, but we're getting there, we're getting there. Got 2 raids today. First one was while I was doing that shell jump right there, so... It's not like that. No, I quite literally only know like 3 things about Hades, and none of them are enough to put together like a cohesive view of what it is. Confusion with the asymmetric view. I think that might be it. Also, I know that there's some gods in there. That might be another reason why I'm thinking Diablo. You got your religious themes. Religious-ish themes, I suppose. What's up, Shellsphere? How you doing? It's a relatively compelling story and gameplay to back it up. Greek god, but Greek flavor. Okay. Now you can see again why I'm getting confused by like the comparison, because Diablo is very roguelike. Because it is roguelike. I've also actually played Rogue. You know what? It's okay. The original isn't bad. Guess I don't know if I actually played the original, but I played a DOS version, which was probably a pretty close port, given that it was a DOS version I played around like 1993, 92, but I didn't know how to pronounce the word rogue correctly, and so I thought it was roguey. It was a lot more auto-attacky, for lack of a better term. Okay. I think like what roguelike I put the most number of hours into, and it might be Diablo 2. Select skills, but Hades is a lot more like a fighting game. Okay, so there's some more going on there. Really good roguelikes you wouldn't expect. Air Guys. It was a fighting game published by Squaresoft in the 90s, and it was mostly notable because it had Cloud and Tifa? Oh, I should have just gone for the block. You rented that one? Yeah, that's how I got my copy, actually. I went to a Blockbuster, and they had bought a bunch of them when it came out because it said Squaresoft on it, which was a license to print money circa 97-ish, 98-ish. And they had a bunch of spare copies, and so I bought one for like 10 bucks. And honestly, the fighting game, not very good in my mind, but that roguelike, so good. Cloud and Tifa. And Tifa, those are different things. I don't think anyone else was in there. Weird ending. Did you actually finish beating it, Desi? Because when I was watching, I didn't know if you'd actually beaten it yet. 100%? Okay, cool. Yeah, because there's a bit near the end, that could be a real kick for you if you aren't expecting it. And that could be eminently cruel depending upon how you've played the game. Shouldn't have seemed pretty fastest. Final Fantasy VII's a weird game. A very weird game. Like, when you really think about it, Final Fantasy VII is one of those games that, like, is far heavier than the last few, with its choice of themes and whatnot. You know, you've got Cloud cross-dressing, you've got some prostitution stuff going on, you've got eco-terrorism. A real kick. They warn you about it? Wait, they do? I remember it happening, and I don't remember there being a warning. I, like, went and did the thing, and then was like, ah, crap. That hoses me. And I still had some, like, backup stuff, so it wasn't so bad, but it didn't make me happy. Oh yeah, definitely an eco-terrorist, like, 100%. Yeah, I played Final Fantasy VII a few years back. Again. You know, I've beaten it a few times. It's a fun game, and it's interesting in terms of how it's paced and everything. There's a vague warning telling you to balance the playthrough. Yeah, I didn't catch that. So as a kid, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to do the other thing now. But I still had some good equipment. That was one thing. It's like, I had some backup stuff. So it wasn't so bad. I don't think I ever had stats as good as the stuff you had, though, Desi. You know what? I wonder if I still have the memory card with my save on there. I might actually have it still. And I wonder if I still have the copy of Air Guys. I have no idea where I'd find it. I'd have to, like, put it on. I actually have a flash card for the PlayStation, but I don't use it very often. Probably should. It'd be fun, but... You went wild? Oh, absolutely. Oh, what's up, Waluta? Yeah, I saw that. It was like 20 on, or 10s or 20s of everything, which was nuts. Yeah, let me clear that. 3 months is a good time. I appreciate any subs. But definitely not necessary. Always love it. And you get access to so many great emotes. Mostly just Windows 3.1 icons, but you know. Gotta find some dinner? Alright, well good luck with dinner. Hope you find something tasty. I had chicken wings. Marinated chicken wings that just had a ridiculous amount of garlic. Do you play Hades? One day, I will finish my list of games, and I'm gonna feel such a burden lifted off of my shoulders. And then I'll play other things again. Really, today I was supposed to be playing Pokemon, but Matt never got back to me in a timely amount of time to pick a good time for it. Like, I wanted to start earlier, because I know he's in the, like, Eastern-ish time zone. Probably on sale. I could do a whole, like, friggin' stream about games I own on Steam and haven't played yet and really should. I'm certain most people do. Like, Squiggles bought me a couple games that I haven't played. Like, we exchange games around Christmas. And I don't know if either of us ever go and play them. He also bought me a bunch of actually, like, nice games as thanks for helping him out when he was having back problems. He was in the hospital, and the reason is part of his spine went bad. Don't ask me to explain exactly, because I don't remember. But they did have to remove a part of his spine. And I know this for a fact because he showed me the part of the spine that they had removed. But he basically needed help getting his place cleaned up enough that he could get around on a walker. Because it was kind of a mess. I don't recall if he got to keep it or not. But he had a picture, so he could show people. But yeah, I went out and spent several hours moving stuff in this cat-filled house. I'm mildly allergic to cats. In the hot sun. And yeah, by the end of it, I was miserable. Also, by the end of it, I either had gotten like a week's worth of allergies or a cold right after. So it wasn't great. But he's a friend. You gotta help friends. I don't regret helping him. In the slightest. And he got me, like, Nier Automata, the robot game. Did he get shorter? Not noticeably. But he was never that tall to begin with. It's pretty sweet. I'd do it for anyone I know in real life. Just the nature of it. Game of the year? Yeah, see, like, it's a game I probably should play, especially if I can get the video card squiggles loaned me to work. So, like, when I, last week... No, not last week. The week before last, before I got sick, I had resolved to fix the wire mess. So, to my right is the computer that I'm streaming off of. And there used to be a whole mess of wires, a giant pile of them. All crossing at weird angles, doing all sorts of stuff. And I didn't even remember what half of them were for. But all of it was part of, like, the streaming setup. Like, this was a cable for this thing, this is a cable for this thing. So, yeah. I finally tore that all down and redid all of it. Well, a good chunk of it. There's parts I haven't done. And as part of that, I moved the PC out to clean it. And when I was cleaning it, I was going to add the new video card. But when I added the new video card, it wouldn't post. The computer just would beep. Actually, no, we don't do beeping anymore. It would put up an LED light saying that it couldn't find the VGA. So I took that out. The thing is, I had two things I wanted to put in there. I wanted to put in another SSD, because there's another SSD slot hidden, annoyingly, underneath the video card slot. So... Oh, nuts. Half-day project? Yeah, no, it took some time, and I still haven't put it all back together. So, like, right now, my capture support, I can do anything S-video or composite. Maybe component if push comes to shove. I have HDMI set up, which is where the component comes in, because it's the same device for that. I capture VGA, component, and HDMI through the same interface. Currently rigged to HDMI because I was playing Pokemon earlier, like last week. Miss your computer that chirps. Oh yeah, also, hi Mats. How you doing? I forgot to say that earlier. You and the chubby chirp thing. Oh, that's the great thing. So I have the squiggle box. That's why I have to have a VGA capture. So the squiggle box is a top-of-the-line Windows 98 computer that Squiggles left at my apartment. And so occasionally I'll bust it out and play Windows 98 and lower games. I'll play DOS games and whatnot. Often Sierra games, because I love Sierra games. I did play an entire playthrough of Baldur's Gate 2 on it. So, that was fun. And it comes with all of the when it boots, it beeps. It has a floppy disk drive, so it makes a noise when it boots up. Possibly my only second favorite computer noise. First, of course, being modem dialing out. But it's up there. Many motherboards have headers for the beep speaker. Get aftermarket speakers. Oh, I didn't know that. Consult your motherboard for all the juicy. It has X details. I think the beep thing is actually mandatory. I know. I looked this up when I worked at Microsoft millions of years ago. But the beep API actually does exist and still works fine if you just call like VB beep. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Most of these don't even have PC speakers. Like, yeah, they emulate that in the real speakers now because it's an accessibility thing, and so it's important. The drive walking up noises? Yeah, I learned why that is a while ago. So the drive, the problem with floppy disks is that on boot you don't know where the head is because the location of the read head is determined by software. You're basically like, well, I moved it a few inches, I moved it this far, this many tracks this way, I moved it this many tracks that way. So when you first boot, it has to figure out where the head is. The easiest way is to put the head at a known location. The easiest way to put it in a known location is to run it into the wall. So basically, when it starts up, it seeks all the way to the outer edge of the disk, and then regardless of where the head is. And so that keeps it going. And that's why it eventually kind of clunks, because it actually has a slip disk or something to make it so you can't, you know, try to go past the limit of no return. And that's how it determines where the head is. It's like, well, I put it in a known place, I've moved it as far to the right as it can go, it can't move any more outward, therefore it must be maximally out. Now I can put it someplace I know where it is. A simple, elegant solution in many ways. Ever play Electro Man then? I don't believe I did. How you doing, Vilegord? It's a homing sequence like 3D printer. Each run axis, whatever. Run each axis to whatever limit, won't break anything, and bop it on the wall. Exactly. Then each axis set to 0, you can dead reckon from there using stepper motors. Precisely. That's exactly how it works. You're good, just hanging? Nice. But yeah, that's exactly how it works, because also floppy drives use stepper motors to do the moving. That's just what they do. The whole floppy thing is kind of an amazing system. If you're a huge nerd and you want a good bunch of reading, I'd recommend looking up, I want to say it's 2 AM? He's a guy who decided to make it his sort of more recent life's work recracking old Apple II software. Because it turns out that an awful lot of the Apple II software we have is either not able to run because of various physical constraints on the disks, or has been cracked beforehand, and sometimes when you crack things beforehand, you don't do the best job and don't notice. And so he went and would recrack them to remove the copy protection from the original disk images that he can get. Because we've changed sort of how we do this stuff. Like, back in the day, what you do is you just send a file system full of stuff to people. But an awful lot of these old games didn't really use a file system, or it frequently used something I guess you could consider a custom file system. And so, do things like have, like, half tracks, or spiral your tracks, or do all sorts of weird stuff. And so, you could go and read his write-ups on how he cracked these various pieces of Apple software, which are frequently very interesting. Unfortunately, he's basically done all of the good ones now, and between him and some other people, they've basically implemented an auto cracker that finds most, if not all, well, not all, but not all, of the normal copy protection stuff. And now, that's the other key thing, is that these disks are no longer, like, they don't just send you a file system of files. What they do is they actually send you, like, the disk itself in terms of its magnetic flux imagery. Like, it's completely insane how far we've come in emulation. Oh, I agree, but it also saves time when it's like, oh, it's this thing again. You don't need to crack the same copy protection 4 times. And you can detect certain routines that are used in the same way over and over for various reasons. So, would recommend. I haven't seen anything from him in a bit because, like, he was on Twitter and then he was off Twitter. Maybe I should try to find if he's on Blue Sky or something. He's probably one of the Mastodon people, let's be honest with ourselves. One of those, I probably should get one of those at some point to follow people who are only on the Mastodons. I don't particularly like Mastodon as a protocol, so that's kind of a problem, but, you know. You want to hear the funny noises? Oh, there's still funny noises if you have an Apple II, but fewer of them, I imagine. You've heard of the version of the kernel's bequest people usually play as broken because it doesn't function RNG for graphical features and some random events because the people who first cracked it fixed the RPG routine to return 0, so the need a feelie from the box had a fixed solution. Yes, I also read that. Utterly fascinating. That's Loosebox, I believe. He found that out and figured out where the crack had initially come from too. It was originated in like a Polish magazine or something silly like that. has a nice blog and has been doing, has at least in the recent past been doing an awful lot of like SGI, AGI research. Found a way to like dump an awful lot of those games' code in a more readable fashion. In fact, was it last year? I think it was last year. I actually played a, how would I put this? Like an enhanced version of a Sierra game? Basically, there's EcoQuest, which was a Sierra game, obviously, but it was released in two different formats. A floppy disk one, crap, and a CD-based one. The CD one was the one I played as a kid, so I wanted to play the CD one. So I played the CD one on stream once. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to work on the DOS side of Windows 98 because it wouldn't initialize the Sound Blaster correctly. It turns out that when you have too fast of a computer, Sierra games cannot initialize the Sound Blaster, because part of the Sound Blaster protocol is literally waiting like 15 milliseconds after you toggle a piece of hardware, and any loop that's that fast is not going to work. I've been meaning to see if like I can run CPU Grabber and see if that fixes the problem, but anyway. Long story short, one, I found this enhanced version of EcoQuest that restored some backgrounds and fixed some scripts from the floppy disk version. The floppy disk version actually had better looking backgrounds for some of the areas, which is really weird when you think about it, because it's the floppy disk version and not the CD version. Dang it. But anyway, yeah, it was EcoQuest Recycled. That's what it was called. Kind of like the Monkey Island Ultimate Talkie Edition, I think is what it was called. I played that on the Windows 98 machine too, both of them, 1 and 2, and that was fun. Basically, they took the audio lines and stuff, and someone managed to kind of hack it into an older version of ScumVM. And then you can play the older Monkey Island with its MIDI music and tear down graphics on a Windows 98 machine. It works just fine. But with the talkies, so. Anyway, really cool stuff. Dude also found a bunch of Easter eggs that people didn't even know about in various other games. Like, it's pretty easy to hide stuff in a game as big and weird. Like, it's a weird, well, it's not a weird programming paradigm, but basically, the King's Quest games from like 2 or 3 onward were all programmed in something more akin to Smalltalk than what you would expect for game dev, which I think honestly explains a bit about how Sierra stayed ahead of the non-LucasArts competition for so long. The LucasArts people were also smart and built a virtual machine that worked really well for them. Namely, Scum. That's death. Which is why it's called ScumVM, because it was originally designed just to run LucasArts games. The funniest thing about that, actually, is that for, I want to say Day of the Tentacle, a game I still haven't played and really should, when they made the NES version, they sent it to Nintendo for, you know, making sure Nintendo doesn't get mad at you verification. You know, things like swearing or religious symbology or whatever. And they did have a problem with a few things. Like, they replaced a statue with a different statue, and I think they replaced a crucifix somewhere, which is weird, given Castlevania has never had a problem with that. Nope. But one of the things they had to remove was a bit of graffiti that said Scum, NES Scum on the wall, I think. Nintendo didn't like that, because they're like, you're calling our product Scum, and like, no, that's not it, but okay, we'll change that, that's fine. Like, as far as asks go, that was pretty reasonable. Yeah, Nintendo definitely had, like, weird sensibilities. It kind of makes sense, given, like, how Atari's video game market kind of went out from underneath it with the bad, low-quality Atari games and the offensively bad Atari games. Something, something, something. Custer's Revenge. So it makes sense that Nintendo wanted to keep a pretty tight rein on things for a while. At least on the American side. I feel in the other side, the Japanese side, they didn't... Well, one, they didn't have as much control. The Famicom didn't come with any copy protection. So they only implemented that in the NES era. Fun fact, They apparently had issues making NES carts of, I want to say, Gyromite back in the day. And so what they did was they took the Famicom boards and then put a Famicom to NES adapter inside of the case with them. Why? No idea. Had to be more expensive. But somehow that was just what happened. That used to be the way you'd get an adapter. A Famicom to NES adapter, but nowadays you can buy them. Or just get a flash cart and not care. Old games fascinate you. You guys hold some enjoyers, but you feel like you're a poser. You were big on playing the varyingly obsolete gaming when you were young, like your father's Windows 3.0 machine, the Windows, or the family Windows 98.5. A lot of weird dim memories. Yeah, that'd be unreasonable. No, there's so much weird stuff in like the early Windows era that doesn't work as well. Like DOSBox largely solves your DOS gaming problems. But Windows, dear Lord. Like Windows 3.1 stuff doesn't necessarily work very well on modern machines, even if it is 32-bit. So for instance, a while ago, because I'd finally managed to visit a James Turrell installation I've been trying to go to for a very long time. Turns out it wasn't as interesting as I thought, but hey, you know. I'd actually tried to visit it a couple times in New York, and in both times had been turned away for very, 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 very silly reasons. First time, there was a crane in the sky, so we couldn't look at it. Second time, it was raining. Having seen it, the raining thing makes a fair bit of sense. The crane, not so much. Anyway, but I wanted to play Super Bubsy, which is the Windows 95 port of Bubsy, the SNES game. And at first, I was like, okay, I'll play it on the Squigglebox. This is a natural fit. And so I turn it on, and it stops at a black screen. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And so I was like, all right. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try running it again. So I turn off the machine, I try again, and same deal. I'm like, okay, fine. Or like wander off to go to the bathroom or get dinner or something. And I come back, and I'm like, it booted. The game started. So I came back and timed it. It took 10 minutes to boot the game. Actually asked an old Windows or old Microsoft dude about that. Mentioned it to him because I thought it was funny. He's like, oh yeah, what it's probably doing is allocating and clearing all of the memory it can get. Games used to do that. It didn't used to take very much time because people didn't have that much memory. How much memory does this machine have? 384 gigs? Yeah, that's probably it. So, I also tried running this on the modern machine to my right, and yeah, it crashed the whole thing. Computer was completely unusable. So, but yeah, especially Win16 stuff. It's an interesting category of thing that's not well explored. Had on my list for a while to play one. An old piece of shareware that I dimly remembered and then eventually managed to find on archive.org. Archive.org being an amazing wealth of various retro games that no one cares about anymore. Especially on the PC software side. And I actually have contributed to this. So a while, I guess not too long ago, I hope. One of the Twitch game requests I had was this adventure game called Who is Oscar Lake? Which is a language learning game. Like the idea was they would make an adventure game and you would learn various languages from it. And so they had made different pairs of language. So like, you know Japanese, you can learn German, that kind of thing. And so online, the only ones I could find were like, you know French and want to learn... No, you know English and want to learn French. And you know Spanish and want to learn German or something. And I'm like, I don't want to play the French version. That sounds like it's dumb. And especially because the fellow who requested it, I believe is German. I knew it. I friggin' knew it. I knew I was 3 jumps away. I went and bought a German copy off of eBay. And played that, and then I went and ripped the disc and uploaded it to archive.org. So now if anybody wants to play Who is Oscar Lake and learn German from it, wouldn't recommend. I don't know if it's a good way to learn German or not, but I facilitated that. First real game that wasn't poking around on the Windows machine was the Journeyman Project Turbo. There was a Turbo version? came with the machine. It's infinitely hard to implement because the engine's kind of weird and bad. It's a better remake. Journeyman Project Pegasus Prime that works on modern machines we haven't installed for the old one. I'd be curious to see if the Journeyman Project... I'd be shocked if they don't have support for the original in ScumVM by now. Which isn't perfectly the same, I'll agree, but... sometimes it's better to play it in ScumVM because things will break less. For instance, old Sierra game, Phantasmagoria 2. The first time I played through that with a friend, and we had the GOG version that used DOSBox, and there's a puzzle at the very end. Oh, precursor, quick, wait, hold up. You're thinking HyperCard, aren't you? I'm curious. I really wish I could stop that and not have that go. Oh, Zom's Lair has a copy of this. That's actually a good sign. Yeah, I would say if you want to play this, Zom's Lair is also really good. There's a guy named by the name of Zom who basically will, if he can, figure out ways to repackage old Windows software such that it just works. Not like using DOSBox, but like tracking down the things you need to make it work on a modern machine. So when I wanted to play Ripper, which is probably the most expensive FMV adventure game of all time, in part because they got Christopher Walken to play one of the characters, and I can't ever not think of him in the context of more cowbell. Just the nature of it. But yeah, I'm surprised. It definitely blew up the budget. But no, it definitely wasn't Scum originally, but ScumVM now supports a lot of things that were not supported back in the past. I didn't know if ScumVM was using this particular piece of software. Anubis. Thank you. Apparently, a recent-ish version of ScumVM can play Journeyman Project 1. But if you want to play the original, I would highly recommend the Zom's Lair packaging. Like, that dude does good work. I've played it more than a few things that have used his packaging. Nuts. It's an interesting game, Ripper. It has some problems. Some of the puzzles are kind of bad. And I have severe problems with how the ending works. Which I guess I won't spoil, because it'd be kind of dickish. Oh yeah, no, they've branched out of original ScumVM games a long time ago. They run all sorts of weird stuff. Macromedia Director games, Sierra games of all stripes. I think the only, like, mainline Sierra game that they don't run is Gabriel Knight 3, because Gabriel Knight 3 is like its own wacky thing. I don't know what to do there. I actually played Gabriel Knight 3 last year. I have to say, would not recommend. Gabriel Knight 1, easy, recommend. I haven't played the remake. It might be better. I like the old one. Tim Curry doesn't do a great New Orleans accent, but there's some classic to it. And having Michael Dorn as an antagonist is a lot of fun. Oh, right, I can climb walls. I keep forgetting. Cat hair, mustache puzzle, exactly. What's really weird about that game is it has several really good puzzles, but it has the cat mustache puzzle, which is garbage. New Orleans mentioned. You know what? I will say, it's a really good... I love games that really give you a sense of place, especially if it's a real place. New Orleans, as far as I know, haven't visited, so I can't speak to it, is a real place. And that game really does, like, capture some of that. Like, you're seeing pieces of the city. Similarly, Gabriel Knight 2 is also a game that takes place in real places. Which I really like. It's mostly Germany, a couple places in Germany, and a specific castle and things. Rather often, love it and hate it, fair. Considering that puzzle, Gabriel Knight 3 was better than you expected. I would say my other complaint is one of the puzzles near the end of the game. I did something, and I'm like, why did that work? And I still don't know why. It was something really annoying. Like, I don't think there was a really good hint or reason to do the thing I did. But then I did it, and it worked. I just need to hold right there. But yeah, it was actually kind of funny. Me and a friend were talking about Gabriel Knight 2 and this specific castle that part of it takes place in. And another friend, in fact, the one that went to the chocolate festival with us, pulled out his camera, pulled out his phone, and showed us pictures he had taken of that castle. And I'm like, yeah, it's exactly that room. I later found out it's because they literally went into that castle where you're not supposed to take pictures and took pictures. Gabriel Knight 2 is also highly ambitious. Like, one of the set pieces of that is a Wagner opera. Wagnerian? I don't know, there's got to be a better word to use than that. There we go. Which, needless to say, is kind of a gutsy thing to try and pull off. Chocolate Festival, yeah, I went to the Seattle Chocolate Festival yesterday. That's what I was doing. It had a lot of chocolate from a lot of different places. Oh yeah, that was the best thing. Okay. So one of the spots... So one of the spots, they had a chocolate that was labeled Brazil with an S. And Fiskbit asked me, what's Brazil? And I'm like, the country. It's a country, Fiskbit. It's like, no, it says Wild Brazil. What does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. Brazil is a country. It's like, that's not how you spell it. I'm like, okay, we'll ask. We asked the person, so what is Brazil? It's like, oh, it's a country. They were literally a Brazilian chocolate company, and I was pretty sure of this fact because they had on their sign Sao Paulo, which is the only Brazil. I guess I could name 2 cities in Brazil: Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. That's literally all I know about the geography of Brazil. Polish chocolate? I don't think I found any. We found some Italian. I used to live up in Everett. Yeah, it wouldn't have been that bad of a drive. It was in Bellevue at the Maidenbauer Center. So not too far. Like some of the other places they've had. But they do it every year, so consider this an advertisement for it. The funny thing is after the chocolate festival, I basically don't want chocolate for like a while. But you go to all these tables and you try different fancy chocolates and other things. They have a lot, and like each place has some number of samples. And you try it out. You can buy full bars. And the place has terrible reception, so everyone has trouble actually charging you money. I actually gave up at the Italian chocolate place and eventually paid him in cash because the transaction wasn't going through. The funny thing is that right before me, my friend had done his much larger transaction, and it hadn't quite gone through yet. So the dude was a little bit worried about it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'll go get him to make sure this goes through. Like, I want to make sure you get paid. It was all good. Not big chocolate? You know, I'll be honest, I would not recommend going then. There's very little there that isn't chocolate. There's some white chocolate. There's a few other people who are doing a little bit of candy stuff, but not much. Like, basically, it's chocolate. The first year I went was actually really weird. So, it was at this location, bonkers location in... How would I describe that place? Not quite Queen Anne, the other side of Queen Anne. I don't know what to call that. Basically, the road that you'd go on after your walk, well, you go across the Ballard Bridge going south. It's a kind of a light industrial area until you get closer to downtown Seattle. But they had a port there that I think was used for cruise ship stuff. And they had used that area as their location. There's a really good bar there. That wouldn't surprise me. I still need to go to Log Cabin Brewing or Distilling. I know they're down there too. It's an area I don't know much about outside of having been there a few times on walks and things. But I digress. But yeah, I was there, and most of the chocolate festival was upstairs, and the downstairs area was all like trade show stuff. Like, here are chocolate grinders, here are mold presses, all of this stuff that, you know, I don't need to buy. But we had gotten VIP passes for some reason. There was also a VIP lounge sponsored by Bailey's. And in the VIP lounge, you could get a dessert, and then they would put a shot of Bailey's on top of your dessert to which we were all kind of confused about. Dang it. Ballard's good, did a garden show. Yeah, Ballard's nice too. I haven't been to Ballard in a while recently. I have a friend who lives over there, and on Fridays, we usually do D&D at her place. But it hasn't happened for a few weeks because people have been sick or inability to host. Last Friday, which was just a couple days ago, was funny. Because one of the dudes was hosting, was like, yeah, we can do this, but I have to host because I'm handling bedtime. Which is fair. But yeah, if I'm over there on Fridays, I usually try to go a little bit early and go play some pinball at one of the places. They've got a couple of good pinball spots over in Ballard, namely Olaf's, which is pretty good, and the Smoke Shop, which is, despite its name, does not allow smoking. But both of them have those, like, old bells that have a thing underneath them. You don't ring this unless you're buying everybody around, because you'll have to buy everybody around if you ring this damn bell. To this date, I have managed to avoid ringing the damn bell. Ow. You know the Smoke Shop? Ah, nice. Yeah, it's one of the few, there's like maybe 3 places in Seattle that have a decent number of pinball machines that also let in kids. Like, it's that, Icebox, and Just the Tap downtown, as far as I know. I think Georgetown Pizza might? No, it definitely does. It definitely does. I forgot about that. I was trying to do a thing on Metallica to get a pinball badge, because they have a achievement system now. And that was the only place, and still might be the only place in Seattle that has the Metallica remastered. And there were a couple of kids who were crowding me, watching me play, and their dad was like, oh, sorry about this. I'm like, nah, I was this kid once. I have no problems with this. I got bamboozled. But yeah, I took my, right after the ICFP contest, my brother had come and he brought along his son, my little nephew. And so we wanted to play a little bit of pinball after the fact, give him a pinball lesson. And my older brother wanted it, not the nephew, but he's coming along because, you know, he's littler. So we went to Icebox and played a bit, which was fun. We could have gone to the Smoke Shop, I guess, but, like, parking is easier at the, at Icebox during the day. Parking in downtown Ballard is a fool's errand. And Icebox is nice because I think it's got, like, more classic pinball arcade machines and the like. And more classic pinball machines, too, if you want to play, like, 1950s stuff. Like, neither Olaf's nor Smoke Shop really have old machines. I want to say the oldest might be Twilight Zone at Olaf's, and, God, the oldest at Smoke Shop. Godzilla? Like, it's all new Stern stuff. Whereas, like, Icebox has, like, 1950, 1960s weird machines. Like, there's one that's both billiard and wizard themed. Have a PBR free play that's near you that it's almost never played. That's because nobody likes that machine. Like, it is an absolute quarter muncher. Like, basically, when people see that in tournaments, they're like, well, I got a 50-50 shot at the next round now. Actually did play in a pinball tournament when I was over on the East Coast. Went to MagFest. It was a pinball tournament. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? I'll do a pinball tournament. Had a nice time bullshitting with the dude. Because I was playing some Whitewater. I think with my mom, actually. After that, no, wait, that was the next day. I was playing some Whitewater, and he was like, yeah, can I get in on this? I'm like, sure, I'll play Whitewater with you. He was better at Whitewater than I was, but I still won. Mostly by dint of sobriety. MagFest is a very, very drinking-heavy convention for most people who go to it. But yeah, the PBR machine was in the list of machines that were playable. I actually got... I got eliminated first round, which, you know, it kind of sucks, but not unexpected. Because I had to play Godzilla, like the 1997 Godzilla, and I had no idea what I was doing. And unfortunately for me, I also had to go first. So after the second ball, I caught on to what you do with the machine. It's all about the multi-balls as far as I can tell. and I figured out how to get the multi-balls, but it wasn't enough to overcome the disadvantage. I really should do more tournaments. I find them a lot of fun, even though they're stressful, but I basically always find I have something else I'm doing on days when any of the locals do tournaments. Like, actually, Coindexter's used to do tournaments on Fridays. Ha! Got it! Oh, that took a while. How did I do? So far, it went off the page. Nah, no credits. Let's see, how did other people do? This is something we can look up pretty easily. Pink Tower. Well, CO finished it in an hour 15. Let me see. It was probably around 11:51 that I started this, so it definitely took me about an hour 50, if I'm looking at this correctly. I can find the exact time, but I don't think I need to. That was fun. Hard for me, but fun. Just longer sections, and I did not understand that chuck thing for way too long. But the second section was pretty reasonable. Just precise jumping, that wasn't bad. That was fun.